African History Network show. It is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022, and we are live. So I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian. I've also taught entrepreneurship for 7 years as well, and used to do business consulting also. So I was doing some research this weekend, looking at information dealing with 80% of African-American owned businesses going out of business in the first 18 months. You know, we dealt with at the peak of COVID, and in 2020, we talked about 41% of African-American owned businesses going out of business as of April 2020. And, you know, my degree's in business administration with a major in marketing from Wayne State University. So this is the type of information I look at quite frequently. So this past weekend, I was doing some research on this topic, and I've also done a presentation over the past few years called 13 Forms of Wealth, which also deals with entrepreneurship. So I put together this presentation here. Here are 17 reasons why 80% of Black-owned businesses fail in the first 18 months. Don't make these mistakes. Don't make these mistakes, okay? And this is for me also having about 25 years of experience when it comes to sales and marketing and management as well. Okay, so here's a short presentation I put together. Also, I'm going to let you know how you can advertise your Black-owned business with the African History Network as well. How you can advertise your Black-owned business with the African History Network and on the African History Network show. Okay, so I periodically look at business statistics. We know that right now we see a surge in African-American owned businesses being started because many African Americans are taking money that they got from COVID and stimulus checks and things like this, starting businesses. But if we look at this piece of information here from CNBC.com as well as NBC News from February 2021, in February 2021, there were 30.2 million small businesses in the United States, 30.2 million small businesses in the United States, but only a fraction of them are going to survive. So what statistics tell us is that 20% of small businesses fail by the first year that they're in business. 20% of small businesses fail by the first year that they are in business. 30% fail in the second year that they are in business. And then we're going to see a big drop as well in the third year that they are in business. And then the fifth year, by the fifth year, 50% of small businesses fail by the fifth year that they are in business. By the 10th year, 70% of small businesses fail. Okay. But one of the most staggering statistics, and I heard this over the past few years, probably past 10, 20 years. Okay. Because I have been studying economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, things like this since 1992 when I was in college. 80% of African-American owned businesses fail in the first 18 months. 80% of African-American owned businesses fail in the first 18 months. So most of our businesses don't get to the full second year, don't get to the third year. Okay. So this is why we really need to understand these pitfalls, okay, and how to navigate throughout them. And these tips can save you thousands of dollars if you are an African-American entrepreneur or want to be one. Okay. Now, the death of George Floyd, May 25th, 2020, in police custody, Minneapolis, Minnesota, renewed interest in supporting the economic advancement of African Americans. On the African History Network show, there were numerous stories that we talked about where we saw African American owned businesses that had an increase in sales, bookstores, African American owned bookstores, the ones that had conscious information. Those are types of businesses that saw an increase in sales, and we wanted to redirect more of our dollars towards African-American owned businesses. Now, amid online support, African-American businesses saw huge spikes. Google searches for Black-owned businesses near me, reached an all-time high between May 31st and June 10th, 2020, between May 31st and June 10th, 2020. But we saw a drop off after that. And we saw those numbers return to pre-COVID numbers as well. Okay, so according to a survey by the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce, around 75% of African American owned small businesses saw upticks in customers in the 2 months after George Floyd's death. But after the surge, sales at many African American owned businesses plummeted back to their pre-COVID rates. So 8 out of 10, we looked at the statistics for businesses, small businesses overall. 20% go out of business in the first year, and then 50% by the 5th year in business, right? 80% of African American owned businesses fail within the first 18 months. And this is something really to understand if you're looking at putting your life savings, putting your 401k plan investment money into your business. You want to liquidate your stocks, things like this. This is something the majority of these businesses are going to go out of business. And many of our entrepreneurs who mean well are going to lose thousands of dollars. COVID-19 has exacerbated some of the issues facing the African American community. African American entrepreneurs have had to close their doors at more than twice the rate of their white counterparts. African American owned businesses, as reported by Forbes magazine, and as well as I think it was the New York Federal Reserve, in April of 2020, 41% of African American owned businesses shut down compared to 17% of white owned businesses. This was in April of 2020. So here are, I put together this list, and I taught entrepreneurship for 7 years, did business consulting for 7 years in the nonprofit arena and the for-profit arena. I graduated from Wayne State in 1994, degree in business administration with a major in marketing. I've managed retail establishments, managed business consulting companies, janitorial service companies. I've managed companies where we had government contracts, city, county, and state of Michigan contracts. So this is a culmination of that experience. So number one, badly thought through business plans. I've also had when I taught entrepreneurship, I had to evaluate business plans as well for my students. So you can put your blood, sweat, and tears into your enterprise, but without a complete, solid, and realistic plan to start with, it's all for naught. What you see as a perfect business plan on paper may not fare so well in reality. Okay, it may look good on paper, but it doesn't fare so well in reality, especially when you deal with what it takes to start a business and dealing with competition and things like this. A business plan should be based on current information and market research. Okay, here's some of the things that your business plan should include: an outline of achievable goals for your business, a clear illustration of the strategies and timelines that should be implemented and met, a picture of an ideal team. Okay, so 95% of African American owned businesses don't have any employees, but you're going to have some that do. Who are going to be your team members? Who are your ideal team members to handle different things, whether it's accounting, marketing, et cetera, customer service, et cetera? If you have to outsource different duties, okay, what does that look like? A picture of an ideal team, detailed and up-to-date market analysis, the state of the competition. You have to understand what your competition is doing. You know, when I was in wireless sales and wireless communications, and so cell phones and different types of things like that, right? We always looked at what the competition was doing. What were the incentives? What were the promotions that the competition had? When I was in retail sales, this is the same thing we did. I used to manage a Radio Shack for 5 years. Okay. And we looked at what the competitors, what was Best Buy doing, things like this. What was our competitive advantage also? Okay. They were a huge big box store. We weren't a huge big box store. Okay. So how do we compete against that? Financial projections. You're going to have this in your business plan as well. And plans for managing the business growth and budget. Now, while most African-American owned businesses have solid business plans, or some of them have a solid business plan, because I've seen some terrible ones, only a few stick with them. If you start changing your strategies or doubling your spending, you're risking failure. So the business plan also is a living, breathing thing. Okay. And a lot of times people will put together a business plan and then put it in a drawer and then just operate from memory, but get away from the core principles of the business plan. So you want to review that business plan maybe once a month, once a quarter, something like that. But it's a living, breathing thing. As conditions in the market change, you may have to go back and adjust some aspects of your business plan as well. But it's a guide, it's a roadmap, it's a GPS. Okay. But if you don't have a business plan, and it doesn't have to be 30, 40, 50 page business plan. Okay. It doesn't have to be that. It may be 5, 6, 7 pages. It may start with a basic concept sheet, 1 or 2 pages, where you take your ideas and write them down, map them out, and then you start organizing it, put together your mission statement, different things like this, put together your financials, etc. Okay. So you don't want to make this too complicated, but it's a guide. Number 2, starting a business for the wrong reasons. Okay. So some of the most often mentioned reasons for starting a business are wanting more spare time eventually, wanting a flexible schedule, no longer wanting a boss. Okay. How many times have you heard that? Okay. You want to work for yourself. You want to be your own boss, and pursuing your passion. Now, while these are all legitimate reasons to start a business, they are not always strong enough to carry the motivation and enthusiasm needed for business success through the times. Okay. First of all, you're probably going to, if you start a business full time, it's a good chance you're going to work 60, 80, maybe more hours a week, starting out maybe that first year or so, to get things, maybe the first 6 months, maybe the first year, depending upon the type of business, to get things up and running. Okay. Number 1. 2, you want a flexible schedule. You're going to be working all the time. So you may have some flexibility in your schedule, but you're probably going to be working more hours than a regular 9-to-5 job when you were working 40, 45, 50 hours a week. No longer wanting a boss. Your customer is going to be your boss. Okay. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. Also, we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. And on the African History Network show as well, and on our audio podcast of the shows also. So you can email us at ahnshow@africanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow@africanhistorynetwork.com. Our current promotion is buy 1 month, get 2 months free. Okay. ahnshow@africanhistorynetwork.com. All right. Now, so your customer, when you are in business, one of the mistakes people make is saying that they want to be their own boss. Okay. So you may not have somebody that you report to. You may not have somebody checking and saying, why are you late to work? Things like this, or you have to get permission to go to lunch or leave early, but your customer is your boss. When you are in business, and if you pay attention to your customers, you're going to realize your customers are your boss. Okay. Your customers, if you say, for instance, you're in retail management or you own a retail outlet. If you open your store at 9 a.m., but you don't have your first customer till 11 a.m., and you don't get any phone calls till 11 a.m. or 12, your customers are telling you, maybe you should open at 11 a.m. as opposed to 9 a.m. and you can save the amount of money that you have to pay employees. You can save on electricity. You can save on utilities. Maybe you should open at 11 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. So your customers are telling you something, but maybe you're not paying attention to it. Okay. So when you're in business, yeah, you may not have somebody that you report to, but your customer is your boss. All right. So they also many entrepreneurs also underestimate what is required for a business, especially in the early days of the business. Now, one of the things that I recommend people do, and I've done everything from help organize career fairs for a local community college here in Detroit. I was on the planning committee to organize 2 Black Expos here in Detroit as well. One of the things I recommend is for people to take at least one entrepreneurship class, maybe go to a local community college, because I taught an entrepreneurship class at a community college. I've done workshops on entrepreneurship, things like this. So I recommend people, if you've never taken an entrepreneurship class and you want to start a business, or if you even own a business, I recommend going to a local community college. Usually the credit hours are much cheaper at a community college than a university. Take one entry-level entrepreneurship class. You're going to learn so much, and it can save you thousands of lost dollars, and it could keep your business from being one of the statistics of 80% of African American owned businesses going out of business in the first 18 months. Okay, so don't be a statistic. All right, now some of the key factors. Okay, number 2, starting a business for the wrong reasons. Some of the key factors that should be considered when starting a business are level of expertise in the industry that you have, the amount of capital needed to start up and sustain, and being realistic about how much time and resources will be needed. Okay, now we know that there are various factors dealing with racism and white supremacy and undercapitalized businesses and historic discrimination when it comes to redlining and bank loans and things like this. Totally understand that. I've done lectures on that. Totally understand that as well. But there are also pitfalls and traps. There are also things that we can learn and how to navigate this as well. Okay, so this deals with mistakes not to make. And if you're making these mistakes, you can correct these also before it's too late. Okay, let's continue. All right, and give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a like on this broadcast, and share this broadcast on your social media platforms as well. Follow us at the African History Network on Facebook, and Michael Imhotep on YouTube, IMHOTEP. Also, Michael Imhotep on Instagram as well. Okay, let's continue. So starting a business places a strain not only on the business owner, but families and relationships as well. Okay. And oftentimes you hear people who are in relationships with an entrepreneur. They talk about how hard it is. They may talk about the entrepreneur working all types of crazy hours, working around the clock. You know, when I was managing a couple of other companies, and we had government contracts, and we had to put in bids to the county for contracts, things like this. You know, we're up 2-3 o'clock in the morning discussing the proposal that we're putting together, because I was the one putting together the proposal, and the owner of the company, he's talking to me on the phone. So you're going to keep crazy hours also. And that's just, here's the thing. That's just if you deal with domestic business. When you start dealing with international business, and you're dealing with countries, you're dealing with people in countries, and they're 5, 6, 7 hours ahead of us, that could put a strain on relationships also. Okay, so starting a business places a strain not only on the business owner, but families and relationships as well. So before you start a business, make sure that you are starting for the right reason and are prepared to handle all of the many responsibilities of a business owner. And you know, one of the things I talk about when I teach is that so when we deal with corporations, we hear about CEOs, chief executive officers, right? Well, when you're an entrepreneur, you're the CEO, you're the chief everything officer. You're responsible for everything. You may not do everything. You may be able to delegate certain responsibilities, but you're responsible for everything. Okay. So a lot of times, because of movies and music videos, entertainment, things like this, we see music moguls, business moguls, things like this, right? Oftentimes we may get an unrealistic idea of what entrepreneurship looks like or what entrepreneurship is. Okay. This is some gut wrenching stuff. This ain't no joke. Okay. This is not for the weak kneed. This is not for the people who don't have the intestinal fortitude. All right. And this takes a whole lot of creativity to be able to sustain a business. Okay, so before you start a business, make sure that you are starting for the right reason. All right. And what is your mission statement? because your mission statement helps to propel you through the ups and downs of having a business. So for the African History Network, our mission statement is we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. That's our mission statement. Okay. So, and when you listen to my radio show, you listen to my broadcast, I said that at the beginning of the show. So that is part of when I did my business plan back in 2010 for the African History Network. That's part of my business plan. That's our mission statement. That's why I created this. This evolved, and I started, this really evolved just for the purpose of sharing information. And it evolved into a business. I never thought I was going to evolve into a business, things like this. But I just started out just sharing YouTube videos and sharing DVD lectures and things like this. And it evolved from there. So what is your mission statement as well? Okay, this gives you your purpose. And your passion can become a purpose and become your mission statement also. Okay. And then one other thing here, let me back up. Okay, we'll get to that. I'll make a note of that. Because I want to talk about just briefly, a lot of people may start a business with enough. A lot of people may start a business with enough money to start the business, but not enough money to stay in business. Also, that's something else. That could be a whole nother broadcast. Okay, number 3. Should you start a business because you hate your job? Should you start a business because you hate your job? So I would hear people, and I would have people in the entrepreneurship classes I taught, and you ask them, okay, so why you want to start a business, things like this? Because this ain't this, Sheila E. had the song The Glamorous Life. This is not the glamorous life. This is gut wrenching stuff. Even when you become successful and blow up and you're a millionaire, things like this, you still got a whole hell of a lot of problems also. Okay, more money, more problems. I remember listening to the Michael Baisden show years ago, 2009, 2010, things like this. And he used to have a segment dealing with live your life, living your dreams, entrepreneurship, things like this. And I would hear people call in and they would say things like they want to quit their job and start a business. Okay. And when I would have people in my entrepreneurship classes or in seminars and say they want to quit their job and start a business, okay, first thing I'm asking them is why, okay? And a lot of times people say, oh, they hate their job. They hate their job. That's why they want to quit their job and start a business. Okay, I can understand you hating your job. But hating your job and starting a business is like, jumping out of the frying pan into a towering inferno. Maybe the solution to you hating your job is to find a better job that you like. Maybe the solution to you hating your job is to find a better job that you like, that doesn't stress you out, that maybe you are in a situation where you don't have to deal with as much microaggressions and racism and coworkers that you don't get along with, things like that. Because for some people, entrepreneurship can work. It ain't for everybody. Okay, so if you hate your job and you're not making enough money, things like this, right? Probably for the first 6 months, year, 18 months, you may not even be able to take a salary from your first job. From your first business or from your business, depending upon the type of business and the revenue and your profit margins. You may not be able to take a salary. We know 80% of Black-owned businesses fail in the first 18 months. So maybe the solution to you hating your job is to fire your employer and get another job that you like better. The solution could be starting a business if that's the right thing for you. But a lot of times I hear people say they want to quit their job and start a business. And one of the things I would tell my students is don't quit your day job, because you're going to need that income from that job. The other thing is if you look at starting your business and say, hey, I'm going to build my business up, and in 2 years, I'll have enough money based upon projections, business plan, revenue, things like this. I'll have enough money to walk away from the job. Well, that can, when you have an exit plan from a job you don't like, but you still see, nothing beats a steady paycheck. You got money, you could pay your mortgage, your bills, take care of your children, things like that. You may hate the job, but if you start building the exit plan, because one of the things I would tell people is start building your business while you're employed, while you have steady, dependable income coming in on the 1st and the 15th, or once a month, or once a week, however you get paid. Okay. Start building your business while you have steady income coming in. Don't wait till you don't have money coming in and you trying to figure out how to pay the bills and all this stuff, and then you want to start a business, because it's going to take money to start that business. That business has to be financed. And the business is like having a child, okay? At 1 year old, most likely, unless they're, in baby commercials or something like that, most likely at 1 year old, your child's not going to be able to generate income. Most likely. At 1 year old, most likely they're not going to be able to get a job. A new business is like a baby. It requires financial investment before it starts paying off, before it starts generating revenue and profits. Okay, so a lot of times we go into this, with totally unrealistic expectations. Okay, now African-American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast also. All right, Hotep. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network and host of the African History Network show, with a very special message for African-American business owners. Start your year off right and advertise with the African History Network. So some of you have been asking me how you can advertise on our broadcast, how you can advertise on the African History Network show. We have a very special promotion for very limited time only. We only have a few advertising slots left. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. We know African American History Month is coming up very quickly. And we take your 30-second to 60-second ad and put it into the rebroadcast of our shows, of our broadcasts here on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep, as well as the Michael Imhotep Show on Facebook also. And we put it into the audio podcast of our shows, which is on 9 to 10 different audio podcast platforms: iHeartRadio, TuneIn, FM Player, Stitcher, Castbox, iTunes, a number of different audio podcast platforms. So you get video as well as audio. All right. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. And when you scroll down, you'll see information about a radio show. We're on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But your ads will play in the rebroadcast of our shows. We run rebroadcasts all across we run rebroadcasts throughout the day. You reach people all across the country. And you scroll down past the information about our online classes, and you'll see information about the advertising with the African History Network. Current promotion: buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. So you may be a book author, you may sell clothing, you may be a fitness instructor, you may have a brick and mortar store or e-commerce store. Okay. You may be a lecturer, whatever your business. If you target the African American community, you definitely want to advertise with the African History Network. All right. So we have the information here in the thread of the broadcast. And African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast as well. Okay. Email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Now, you may say, well, I want to take advantage of this promotion, but I'm not ready to advertise right now. You can email us. You can secure your advertising space. You can pay and reserve your advertising space today, and you can advertise a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, what have you. We can hold your advertising space. You may have an event coming up that you want to promote. You may have an African-American scholar coming in. You may have an expo coming up that you want to promote or something of that nature. You can advertise with the African History Network. Okay. We have 1 million followers on our Facebook fan page. And then also you get extra exposure in the audio in our audio podcast. Okay. So we're on 9 or 10 different audio podcast platforms, and we'll place your 30-second to 60-second commercial in the audio podcast of our shows and our broadcasts as well. And we will, for a limited time only, we will create, if you don't have a commercial, we can create one for you at no additional charge as well. Okay. So email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com for more information to advertise with the African History Network, and we can get you up and running today. All right. So you may be a new business, an established business. You may have a restaurant. You may be a caterer, what have you. Okay. So we reach people all across the country. You may want to target one geographical area, or may want to reach people nationally or internationally. You definitely want to advertise with the African History Network. Okay. You may have an online bookstore. You may have a brick and mortar bookstore. You may sell jewelry, African clothing. You may sell regular clothing. You may have a shoe store. If you sell to the African American community, you want to advertise with the African History Network. Okay, so our current promotion for a very limited time only: buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Okay, so email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. and we can get you up and running today. Remember, right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And African American business owners, post your name of your business here in the thread of the broadcast, so we can get in contact with you and people can find out about you as well. Remember, right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.
The work that I do is larger than the fashion industry. It's larger than the art world. And I believe that I was born to bring newness into this world. I'm Kaima McIntyre. I'm 24 years old and I'm an artist. I create everything from paintings to jewelry design, metaphysical jewelry to be specific, and fashion design. The only reason why my prom dress went viral is because people needed it. Within a few days of going viral, Notori Naughton reached out to me and she's like, I saw your dress, can you make me a dress? I was equally as shocked to be asked by a celebrity to design their dress at the age of 17. That's just one person, and the list just continues to go on to Janet Jackson, to Tyra Banks. It really hits home. That means that the discussion is happening on the grounds in real time.
Hello, African History Network family. You've put it off for way too long. Now it's time to act for your family, your future, and the next generation. Get life insurance for that peace of mind and security for you and your loved ones. Build your financial foundations starting today. Your independent agent at Fortified Trust Life Brokers, with over a dozen strong A-rated life insurance companies to offer you the life protection you need when it comes to final expense, term life, whole life, mortgage protection, annuities, and more. They're currently licensed in Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. Don't let a pre-existing health condition hinder you from getting life insurance. You can get the affordable coverage you need today. Life insurance is only the beginning. Email them at Fortified Trust Life for a free fact sheet explaining the 5 basic building blocks for a strong financial foundation. It's their gift to you to help you fortify your future. Email them at fortify, fortifytl828@yahoo.com, or call them at 706-339-5096 and leave a message. Fortify your future today.